Bad lighting. All right, we good? We're good? Hi, sorry, we had some technical difficulties and my tripod's going weird and I had to borrow a team member's phone. But I'm here and excited to be here with you and chat about a bunch of the questions I got, and I have some notes from my team, so so sorry about that. We had a little phone call coming in. So I am here answering your questions. I've got a couple that have come in ahead of time I'm going to answer, and then I'll be answering questions live as we go. So send them on in. Anything else I need to tell them, Jen?
No.
All right, cool. Then I'm going to jump in with these three, and the first one is from David Boulay. Did I get that right, David? I know you post a bunch and you've had some amazing success, so yay for you. Totally excited about that. Love that so much. Thank you. And David, you ask about legumes, and you say, I know eliminating peanuts is on the list and have not missed them, but I'm confused if other legumes, by the way, I keep thinking back to when I had to record the Virgin Diet audiobook, and I discovered that a legume is not actually a legume, it's a legume. Anyway, I'm concerned about other legumes, like lentils or chickpeas. Are they okay, fully or in moderation? Confusion may be coming from a purist paleo viewpoint. All right, so you want to know what are the downsides, upsides, sideways, all that. So let's talk about legumes and grains, and specifically lectins and phytates. And I have a really great blog for you to go reference to on HuffPo. I printed it out, and it says Ask JJ about lectins and phytates. So you can also go to HuffPo and Google. Oh, you listed? Oh. We posted this week, says Jen. So we posted this week, which is great because here's the skinny on it. I love the whole concept that Mark Hyman talked about on Dr. Oz, the Pegan diet. It's paleo plus vegan, or a plant-based paleo diet. And I follow what I would call a paleo plus diet, right? So meaning that I eat loads of plants, and I'm not really much of a grain person. The grains I pretty much limit to the seed-based grains or grass-based grains like quinoa or wild rice. And but I do think that there is some value to eating legumes if you soak them. So the deal is phytates and lectins are what we call anti-nutrients that can create some problems. And it is why you want to make sure that if you're eating grains or beans that you soak them. And that will help reduce the phytates and the lectins. The phytates combine the minerals. Lectins can actually do some crazy stuff with leptin resistance so that your body won't hear leptin, which is not good because leptin's your turn off the hunger hormone. But by soaking foods overnight, by boiling them, you massively reduce this impact. And so first thing is, of course, kick out the gluten-containing grains, which I know you are. But I happen to think that while legumes do have some lectins and phytates, as do nuts, by the way, have them, they also have some really amazing nutrients in them. So that's where soaking, and especially overnight or boiling, becomes really key. And that is why it's great to take your nuts, soak them overnight in a little water with sea salt, and then slow roast them at 200 degrees for about 6 to 8 hours. Is awesome. Okay, or you can dehydrate them, and that'll reduce that as well. Okay, that's the first one. Thank you, David, and you know, A+ for all of what you've been up to and all the hard work. And by the way, the reason I eliminated peanuts was really because of the higher risk of aflatoxin mold, and because so many people are thinking of them as a nut, and they're not a tree nut. They are not. So they are misnamed as a peanut. They're a legume. Next up, Susan Jelinek. Please comment on exercising for those of us used to going long and hard. For me, it's not an issue of getting going, but how to adjust what I do if current regimen is making me fat. I run 5 and 10Ks, half marathons, bike, lift weights, generally work out 90 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week. I've been on the Virgin Diet for about 5 weeks now. I lost 10 pounds right away within the first 2 to 3 weeks, but then nothing. Let's take this, Susan, a couple different things. Number one, I used to work out that much, and it creates a lot of oxidative stress. When you're doing endurance training, it's very interesting because the muscle, the fuel you use during exercise is the fuel you tend to store back after exercise. So you want to burn a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs during exercise so you can refuel your muscle stores with glycogen after exercise. You actually train your body to be a better fat burner and burn up muscle tissue and raise stress hormones when you do long endurance training. So what I want you to focus on, you're going to get some of your life back. You can do as much easy walking as you want. We're supposed to move. It would be great if you moved like an hour plus a day of just walking. I wish that we all did that. It's one great reason to have a dog. I got a dog right there. See the dog? Is that seeing the dog? Do you see the dog, Jen? There's the dog. Okay. So anyway, there was the doggie. She's behaving. She was not behaving a little while ago. However, now she's looking at me like, when are you taking me for a walk, Mom? The great thing about having a dog is that they will absolutely shame you into walking them, and you're not jogging with them because they have to stop and sniff at everything. But we should be moving more, parking farther away, and the good news with all that is everything counts. As far as exercise, resistance training is so critical because as we age, we lose muscle and bone, and resistance training offsets that. And muscle is the big thing that can help get you insulin sensitive so your body can hear insulin better so you can burn fat better, and also burn up sugar, and then also keep your bones strong, and then also boost your metabolism because more muscle burns more calories 24 hours a day. So that's number one. Number two, high intensity interval training or burst style training where you go all out for 30 to 60 seconds, recover for twice as long and repeat, and do that in repeated bursts. Is huge because it helps train your sympathetic nervous system on how to handle stress better. It helps burn up your fat storing enzymes, and it helps deplete your glycogen stores and use up sugar so that then when you do eat that, your body fuels those back into your muscle stores rather than storing them as fat. So this is critical. So the cool news is you can get some of your life back. Now, if you want to move more, hey, go for easy walks, go for easy bikes, and do some easy yoga for flexibility and core work. I'm not talking power yoga, but do high-intensity interval training 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week, and then do your resistance training, hit each body part 2 to 3 days a week. And that will get you the best results. Exercise is a bell-shaped curve. It can be therapeutic or destructive. The right amount is key, and recovery is also key. In fact, one of the most important parts of exercise is when you don't exercise. It's eating correctly after you exercise, finishing up with a shake. One of the favorite things I like to do after I exercise is to have a shake within 60 minutes. I do my all-in-one shake, and then I will throw in a little bit of avocado and spinach, and right now I'm into chocolate with cherries. That's what I'm doing with some raw cacao nibs. Yum! Anyway, I'm always changing that up. So a shake within an hour after working out is a great way to help with muscle protein resynthesis from the protein in the shake, and with glycogen restoring from the carbs in the shake. All right, next one. Sorry, I'm holding this because I haven't quite nailed I have a little issue with my tripod issue. Terry Perkins, just listened to an interview podcast of yours that was very inspiring. Thank you. Hey, if you guys are not listening to my podcast, I have got the coolest guests on these podcasts because I have super cool friends in the health world. Like the smartest people ever. And so I bring them onto the podcast. And a lot of them are people you wouldn't normally get access to, so it's even more fun. And then I ask them questions that you wouldn't normally get to ask them. All right. Let's see. My biggest concern is for my children. And it says, how do I break their sugar addiction and get them eating healthy when all they're interested in is PB&J, goldfish, yogurt, pizza, etc. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I love to cook healthy and prepare food, so I have the time and willingness to do this for them. I only offer healthy options at dinner, but lunches are my issue. My philosophy is I'm responsible for making the food, they're responsible for eating it. I never force them to eat anything. I'm not a short-order cook. How do I break their addiction without it being too traumatic? Kids are 6 and 3, not quite old enough to reason with on this topic. Okay, but this is the time when it's so important here, Terry, so I'm so glad, and I'm sorry it's kind of feels like the Blair Witch Project with this phone right now. It's all over the place. But I'm so glad that you're looking at this now because exposure equals preference, and this is your time that you can teach them how to do this all correctly. So awesome, and yay for you. First off, you want to involve them as much as possible because this is super fun to them. So have them help you as much as possible with everything from picking out a new vegetable in the produce department or at the farmer's market to make, to helping you prepare stuff for their lunches. And yes, I know that's going to take longer and be a pain, but even if it's just a matter of picking which things they want to put into their little Tupperwares or baggies to pack, makes a difference. Always offer to be snack mom because then you can make sure that you don't have total garbage over there. I will never forget going in once and looking as they had like beanie weenies, juice, cupcakes, cookies. I'm like, oh my gosh, come on. Because you know what? They will eat things like celery with almond butter, rice crackers with almond butter, and hummus and fruit and nuts. So it is not as hard as you think. And those little coconut wraps, you can do amazing things with those coconut wraps. With Kite Hill has this almond ricotta cheese, and you can put some berries in there, and it tastes like a little crepe. Incredible. And then I want to do a shout out to my friends over at Family for Health, Elaine and Michael. So Elaine DeSantos and Michael Ortiz, I actually just did a podcast with Elaine. I'm not sure when it's going to air. But if you go to Family for Health, and I think we'll probably type that in because I'm thinking it's Family 4 with the number 4. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, Elaine has cracked this code because she had a very sick family. She was sick. Her husband was sick. And she was like, how am I going to feed all of us healthy food? And she has done all sorts of cool stuff, right down to doing pizza crust with cauliflower. Now, the big thing I'm going to tell you is exposure equals preference. I love your philosophy here, Terry. Do not create a war at the dinner table, but don't expect just because you feed it to them the first time that they're actually going to like it. It may take them multiple times before they start to like things, but then they think of this as their new normal. And I'll never forget watching my kids. They got so used to not being like over sugared that if they did eat it, they just realized how sick it made them feel. You can make your own pizza crust. We've got some amazing gluten-free pizza crusts in the freezer right now that we're testing that someone sent us. You can make them out of cauliflower rice. Against Emily or Elaine just told me about this one. And then have them help you with the toppings. I mean, these are easy, fun things kids can do, is help you with the toppings on that, help you make a protein smoothie. These are things that they can get involved with. And you know what? We tend to support what we create. And exposure equals preference. So this is your time to break them of their sweet tooths because they aren't at the grocery store. They're not driving there. They don't have a car and they don't have a wallet. So you've got the control here, but just make it fun and involve them. Don't make it a war, just like you were talking about. Which fruit has the most sugar? So here's the thing you want to avoid the most. You want to avoid concentrated fruits. That would be juices and dried. Those are just, to me, they're soda and candy. So that's what you really want to avoid. In the sugar impact diet, what I did was I looked at fruit in terms of its fiber, its phytonutrients, and I contrasted them with its fructose and its glycemic load. And so it's not just about looking at, obviously, anything dried or juice is out. Get rid of that. Don't do that at all. But then things that would look like they're normally low sugar, like apples, are actually a medium sugar impact fruit because they're high in fructose. So best fruits of all are always going to be berries. Medium sugar impact are the tropical fruits like pineapple, mango, banana, the ones you know about, like you always hear about. And then apples and pears because they're so high in fructose. Those are the ones. And obviously, the riper they are, the more sugar they have. Okay? All right. Do we have another question over there, Jen? Are you Skyping me and I'm not paying attention?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, because I turned off my Skype. Hold on. And I know I just put my thumb in front of the bad. Don't put your thumb in front of the thing. Okay. Oh, but none of your stuff's showing.
Lynn Morgan.
Okay. Lynn Morgan.
Can you talk about leaky gut? What is it? Best foods to eat or not to eat?
All right. Can you talk about leaky gut? This is from Lynn. Hey, Lynn. Can you talk about leaky gut, best foods to eat and not to eat? Well, they really depend on you. So let me give you what is leaky gut first. And I have been working with leaky gut now for, I think 15 plus years, and I didn't know about it. I learned about it just through doing the work and realizing that as I was doing food sensitivity testing, that there were all these people that were reacting to the same foods, and when we pulled them out, magic happened. They started feeling so much better, so much faster. Now, how does you have a semi-permeable membrane in your small intestine. And sorry, I'm a little sleep deprived right now. I just taped a major production and had 12 to 17-hour days. It was crazy, so I'm a little trashed. My whole team, I was like going, I'm going to go to sleep early tonight after I go do a sunlight and sauna. I'm so excited. I'm home and I can do a sauna. Anyway, back to leaky gut, sorry. So what leaky gut is your gut should be semi-permeable to allow things to go out that need to go out, but not everything. With digestion, you're breaking down food, it gets into your stomach, and if you've got adequate stomach acid, it breaks apart. But for a lot of us, we're not chewing well, we're drinking too many fluids, eating on the run, rushed, and we don't have enough stomach acid either because of age or because of stress, or both. And then it gets into the small intestine, and it's not well broken down, and our small intestines become more permeable. Here are the things that can make your small intestine more permeable. Stress can make it more permeable. Fructose actually can make it more permeable. Lectins can make it more permeable. A lot of different medications can make it more permeable. And gluten. Gluten actually releases a protein that can make it more permeable. So a lot of things now are contributing to leaky gut, which is why you're hearing about it so much. They've now recognized it. So your gut becomes more permeable. You haven't broken down your food well. It gets out into circulation, and your body goes, this should not be here, and it starts launching an immune attack against it. So you've got now proteins from food. Your body's launching an immune attack against the proteins from the food, not the fat, not the carbs, the protein. And your body launches an immune response to them, and then the immune response, these immunoglobulins, clump on to the proteins and form immune complexes. Now, if it's just a little bit, your body gets rid of them, like with these little Pac-Men called macrophages. But if you eat the same thing all the time, which we so commonly do, when you look at the average food in the processed diet, it's gluten, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, peanuts, right? Which is when I did food sensitivity testing in doctors' offices, the same foods always showed up. It was always dairy and eggs. Gluten was a different type of test, but it was dairy and eggs, and then second tier was soy, corn, peanuts, and wheat. And then there was another way to test for gluten, because you can have a genetic issue with gluten or an immune issue with gluten. Anyway, so these are foods we're eating all the time. Your body can't get rid of the immune complexes. They build up and start to trigger issues like fatigue, headaches, joint pain, skin problems, gas and bloating, and cravings. You tend to crave the very foods that hurt you. You get very inflamed. You can't lose weight. You're probably going check, 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 which is why when you go on a diet, pull out the most common offenders, you start to lose weight quickly and feel better fast, and it's awesome. So that is what leaky gut is. The most common offenders are the ones I just listed, but you could become intolerant to anything. It tends to be the foods that you eat all the time and crave. But those were the most common ones I saw. That's why I start there. The best foods for healing your gut, applesauce is amazing. Yes, it's a medium sugar impact fruit, but the pectins are very gut healing. Freshly ground flaxseed meal is amazing. Fish protein's incredible. Fish is, because it's so anti-inflammatory. A lot of deep green leafies for the antioxidants. So those tend to be really good healing foods. Plant-based foods that are bright colored, rich in antioxidants. Foods that have really good fatty acid profiles, like dehydrated or slow roasted nuts and seeds, especially walnuts. Chia and freshly ground flax seeds, because they're mucilaginous. All are great choices. Of course, things that are also helpful, ginger. You can use a little bit in your morning smoothie. That's super good for help as well, because it's anti-inflammatory and very gut healing. I also like to use some different gut healing nutrients like N-acetylglucosamine and marshmallow and mucin and glutamine are all super good too. I also wanted to pop back to that exercise question, because the other part was, and let me look where this question was. It was something about getting stuck. The person about how much should I exercise, and I lost 10 pounds and I got stuck. There are a variety of reasons you can get stuck when you're trying to lose weight. And So one of them obviously is stress and adrenal stress, because if you put your adrenals under a lot of stress, you'll be in a catabolic state. You actually, even if you have a great diet, you'll have higher fasting blood sugar. And I see this all the time, by the way. People with a super good diet, I just saw it with a friend yesterday in Chicago at this meeting. I know how this guy eats. He has a really good diet, yet his hemoglobin A1C, which is a marker of your average blood sugar, was 5.9, which is pre-diabetic, and his average blood sugar was 132. This is someone who should have had a hemoglobin A1C with his diet and the way he lives of 5. So if you're under a lot of stress, you break down muscle, you tend to have lower anabolic hormones like testosterone. It can impact your thyroid, and it can raise your fasting blood sugar, and it can make you crave sugar and carbohydrates, and it can make your gut more permeable and you more likely have food intolerance. And of course, if it throws off your thyroid, if you have low thyroid function, which you really want to get tested with a super good diet, I would go and look at the work done by Dr. Alan Christensen and Dr. Isabella Wentz. I've had both of them on my podcast. They're brilliant. And as far as blood sugar goes, I had Dr. Rita Marie Lascalso on my podcast. Amazing to talk about blood sugar there. But again, if your thyroid's off, you won't be able to build muscle and you will get stuck trying to lose weight. And then sex hormones, of course, if you're starting to head into menopause or andropause, oh my gosh, all hell breaks loose. So you want to work with a really good doc on that part, and bioidentical hormones. If you've got elevated insulin, so you look at your hemoglobin A1C, your blood sugar, and your fasting insulin. If your insulin's elevated, it turns the doors to your fat cells off and says, it locks the doors to your fat cells rather, and tells your body you cannot burn fat. So that's when you'll want to work with a good functional doc with. And then toxicity, if you've got an elevated toxic burden, you're a poor detoxifier, it actually cools down your body temperature and can make you more insulin resistant or diabetic, or impact thyroid function because it disrupts your hormones. And gut dysbiosis and overgrowth of the bad bacteria in your gut can actually extract more calories from the food you eat and store them as fat. So there's a lot of other things that can go on here. The first thing you always want to do is clean up your diet and then get your labs drawn so you can see if there's some other issues going on. But clean up your diet, dial in your exercise, start working with your stress, balance your gut microbiome. And I think we have some links we can do on some of the stuff I've recorded on weight loss resistance. It's kind of my favorite subject. And of course, I used to run around the country and teach doctors. So is IBS similar to leaky gut? No, irritable bowel syndrome is kind of a catch-all phrase for I'm eating stuff and it's disrupting my gut. What I do with it, it can be similar in that you can have foods that are triggering it. So the first thing that I do with IBS is go on the virgin diet and start doing the leaky gut support, start healing it, because it's super important. But then I also would pull out raw vegetables there, because in stringy meats and spicy foods, because those tend to aggravate it, and just really work on just calming the fire down in your gut. Try adding also some of the microbiome balance to start healing the good microbiome in the gut. No. All right, I've got another one coming in here. I'm getting them handed over because we're trying to communicate by Skype and it's not working. Biviana, DeFruscio, Biviana, okay. Newly bloat-free. I'm still having trouble controlling fasting glucose, never within the optimal range. Mine 95 usually. Berberine isn't working either. How can I help raise my insulin? Too low because my low carb intake. Too low? My carb intake was about 30 grams a day, up to 60 grams now. Thanks. Okay, first off, a lot of questions in this question. When I find when people go too low on their carbohydrates, they actually start to see a rebound, elevated fasting blood sugar because of the stress. So I'm not a fan of a low carbohydrate diet. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 grams of carbs, but remember, you're going to be getting in 25 to 50 grams of fiber, hopefully 50. So you'll take the 150 grams, 100 to 150 grams of carbs, subtract the fiber out, and you're going to be at somewhere between 50 and 100 grams of carbs. And that's going to get from your veggies and your slow, low carbs, which are things like pumpkin, squash, wild rice, legumes and berries, tomatoes, but you want to hit somewhere in that range. But remember, you've got elevated fiber. If you go too low, like I see with the ketosis style diet, and there's some applications where ketosis style diet's good, like cancer, epilepsy, but otherwise, over time, I've seen it repeatedly, especially with women, that they start to get stress on their adrenals and elevated fasting blood sugar. This 0.9 insulin is actually not problematic. You don't want to raise your insulin there, but it really has to do with how your insulin and glucose are going together. So, because, you know, you need to work with a functional medicine doctor. First of all, first thing I would do is start working on getting your carb intake adjusted, especially in the evening, so that you've got it more normalized. Make sure that you're really managing your stress. Look at things you can do to help balance blood sugar. Fiber is huge. Lemon juice before your meal, a couple tablespoons of lemon juice before the meal is excellent. The blood sugar warriors, things chromium, magnesium, vanadium, and zinc all work well. They should all be in your multi. Listen to the call I did with Dr. Rita Marie. She is incredible. She did a great podcast, so listen to the podcast I did with her. Make sure that you're not over-exercising and endurance training and you're getting enough sleep. One of the things that really kills blood sugar control is, besides stress, is sleep. And then lots of fiber, lemon juice. Cinnamon helps balance blood sugar naturally. Work on all those things. Vitamin D is also critical for insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control, so make sure you're optimizing vitamin D. Look at 25-hydroxy vitamin D. And then make sure it's between about 60 to 80 NGs per ml is a great place for it to be. And then we test and see, but when you test, look at hemoglobin A1C, fasting insulin, and glucose. And what would actually be even better if those are not now in line is to do a glucose and insulin tolerance test where over 2 to 3 hours they check all of them. They check both those measures. So that would be really helpful. Okay, do we have another one over here? Or are we good? Oh, Connie.
We're getting close to time.
Oh, we're close to time. How does alcohol compare to sugar? Does it affect your sugar level? No, actually it doesn't. So sugar alcohols, and there's different sugar alcohols. The ones that I prefer are xylitol and erythritol. And what's cool about them is if they're in a product, you can actually, like if they say there's 11 grams of carbs, but 9 grams are from erythritol or xylitol, you can subtract those out because they don't really play into your blood sugar. They don't raise your blood sugar and they don't raise insulin. So they're pretty amazing for that. And they've also got some health benefits too. So the sweeteners that I allow are monk fruit, which is also called Lohango, and stevia, and get organic, and then erythritol or xylitol. Those are my favorite. For a lot of people, myself included, xylitol can make you gassy, and not just like a little gassy, like stinky, blow out the room gassy. So if you're one of those people, try blending it with some, my Jen's over there laughing, try blending it with some stevia or some monk fruit. I like blending them together. I actually created a product called Virgin Sprinkles, which my team was like, you had to really name it that, but I couldn't help myself, which is a blend of erythritol and stevia and glycine, which is a really sweet amino acid that helps your body balance blood sugar. So it all works together to be good for you. And there's some actual health benefits and benefits to diabetes with stevia, so that's kind of fun. But those are the ones that I like to use, but they do not act the same as sugar. They have 2.4 calories per gram as opposed to sugar's 4, and they are not absorbed, and that is the difference. Okay. Oh, now everything's ringing. Okay. Okay. Any other ones? Oh, no, I did that one. So... Is that it? How are we? Oh, we are good. Okay, so that was fun. I hope that was fun for you, as much fun for you as it was for me. And I think I have stuff I'm supposed to. The team told me we did some special stuff for today too. So here's what we did, and we will be back. If you like this, let us know, because we'll come back and I'll come back and answer more. And next time I won't be holding this like a Blair Witch Project, but. We also put together a $10 off your entire order one-time use coupon. That's good till the end of the day on Friday, 4/15. tax day. So act fast, says this note. And the code is, ready? 4FB Live 10. 4, the number 4, FB, as in Facebook, Live, the number 10. 4FB Live 10. Okay, so $10 off your entire order, one-time use, good till the end of Friday. I so love doing this. I really appreciate your participation, and we will figure out when we are around so we can do another one soon, and hopefully I'll have a tripod figured out by then because I've got one over here, but I don't know how to make it work. And I just want to point out before we leave how amazingly awesome my little dog is at the moment. She is now full of energy. She's lost almost 4 pounds. Look at this. So super, super proud of that. Look at that physique. Look at that. I know, such a good girl. Anyway, this is JJ Virgin signing off. Thank you for being there with me. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all of your comments and look forward to being with you again live soon. Bye.